To make a smash pizza, the first thing you need to do is make the base. So we're going to use smash. Now the quantity that you need will completely depend on how many of these pizzas you're wanting to make. The quantity that I have used is 150 grams of the smash powder and 300 millilitres of water. This will make 4 small to medium sized pizzas that could be accompanied with a side salad or chips or something like that. So you pour out your smash into a bowl and you need to add hot water and mix it. Now, as we're making a doughy sort of consistency with the mash, you don't want to follow the instructions on the packet because obviously the instructions there are for making mash and that's not what we want. We actually want a slightly drier, firmer consistency. So we're going to add the water really, really slowly. Now, as an optional extra at this point, I add onion granules, garlic powder, a few mixed herbs and a pinch of salt. It just gives the pizza base a little bit more flavour. So next we're going to add the boiling water. It can be just off the boil, it's fine, it doesn't need to be absolutely boiling. We're going to add it in small amounts and start mixing it in. Now you'll find as you're doing this, the mixture is going to be really quite dry. I've used 300 millilitres in total to the 150 grams of smash powder. Now as you're mixing it, you'll probably think this isn't going to come together, it's way too dry, it's way too powdery. Stick with it, don't add too much water because otherwise you will just end up with mash and it's not going to work for the pizza. So keep adding the water, keep mixing it in, and eventually what you'll find you end up with is a kind of doughy, thick kind of consistency to the mash. Apologies for the extreme close-ups here. I did actually have my phone recording in one hand and the fork in the other, and I was trying to hold the bowl at the same time. But basically this is the sort of consistency that you'll need, that it will come to. And at this point, once it's all sort of started sticking together, get your hands in there and basically knead it a bit like bread dough. Just bring it all together and try and just make one lump of dough. Keep squishing it down, keep kneading it, and you'll end up with a lump of dough looking something like this. Once you have your dough mixture, what you're going to need is an oven tray with a sheet of greaseproof paper on, sprayed with fry light. Grab about a quarter of the dough mixture that you have. This whole mixture that we've just made up is going to make 4 small pizzas. So mash it down, dollop it on the tray, and basically you just need to flatten it out to quite thin. To be fair, the thicker the consistency, the thicker that you leave your pizza dough base, the more kind of potatoey and mashy it's going to be. To get the perfect kind of thin and crispy base that you're looking for, it only needs to be a few millimeters thick. So I faff around with the bases for quite some time, but I've cut a lot of that out in the editing because you don't need to see me messing around with a rolling pin and a fork. But basically, you need to do the best you can to get it into a kind of round or oblongy type shape that will be used as the base for your pizza. See, still faffing around. Right, get the second quarter of your mixture and do the same again. I'm only going to show you these two. I'm not going to show you the other two because it's exactly the same. Basically, just put two on another tray. Now, it goes into the oven at approximately 200 degrees. You want to leave it in there for about 15 minutes. Now, in the meantime, heat up a pan on medium to high heat. Spray it with some fry light. And I'm putting in some red and white onions, just to give the pizza a bit of flavour. So I'm going to soften those down. In fact, I'm going to do them also almost to the point of caramelization because I quite like them like that. That's just what I fancy for today. Once your onions have caramelized, set them to the side. The next thing that I'm going to do is heat up my tomato sauce. Now, I already had some in my fridge from previous recipe the day before, but basically it's just chopped tomatoes, tomato puree, a dash of oyster sauce, some onion and garlic granules, a pinch of salt, anything like that just to make it a base sauce, really. You can do it to your own tastes. So I'm popping that in the microwave just for a minute and a half or so, just to take the edge off of it because it's been in the fridge and so it's very, very chilled. Now, after your first 15 minutes, go back to your oven, check on your pizza bases. They should have started going all nice and golden brown around the outside. And so what you need to do at this point is grab your fry light, which I almost forgot when I did these, give the tops of the pizza bases a quick spray, and then flip them over and put them back in the oven for another 15 minutes. So this time round, once your pizza bases have been put back in the oven, we're going to chop up some toppings. I've used ham and pineapple because that's my favourite. I've also weighed out my cheese. You'll need 80 grams of reduced fat cheddar. After your second 15 minutes, check on the pizza bases and they should be nice and golden brown. As you can see, they are thin and they are relatively crispy. So now we're going to add the tomato sauce base. The next thing that we're going to add is the red and white chopped onions that we fried off earlier on. Next, we're going to add the ham and the pineapple. And then, of course, we top with the cheese. Your pizzas then need to go back in the oven for roughly 10 minutes. It's literally just to warm through the pineapple and the ham and to melt the cheese. When you take them out, the cheese should be nice and melted and they smell lovely. Now these are very good for making a light lunch if you were going to have one with, say, a side salad. If you're having them as part of a bigger meal or you're just more hungry, then obviously you can have two. Or you could just use the mixture to make one very large pizza, but I'm not entirely sure whether the centre of it would actually crisp up in the same way. But there you go, take a look at that. Small pizzas, thin and crispy base, lots of yummy toppings, far, far healthier than anything you'll get from the takeaway. And if you don't mind tweaking, it's totally sin-free as long as you use your cheese as a healthy extra. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up below. If you would like to see more recipe ideas, how-to videos, live cook-alongs, cleaning and organising tips and much more, then please click that subscribe button and you will be notified each time I upload a fabby new video. Until next time, my friends.